Hey, this is Stacia, and I'm going to show my round 2 game at Parma this week against Jeffrey Geminian. This game is kind of weird because Jeffrey has a son who is a baby, and he actually was holding him for much of this game, so that's sort of unusual, but all right, let's go into this. His son is really cute though, and very good. You never even really know he's there, which is amazing. Okay, so I went 1 to e4, and he went e5 and knight f3, and now d6. I was very curious what opening he would do. He's been playing different stuff lately, and well, I should note, since I didn't put it on the background, he's rated in the 1400s currently, but he has been as high as 1600 for sure in the past, and so he's not to be taken lightly. And he also plays quickly, so he will put pressure on me on the clock, and so I was fully aware of that going into the game. In fact, I did take a loss against him the last time we played, where we had a pretty equal position, and I just like messed up in time pressure and then lost on time, literally lost on time. So I've been working hard on my time management, so let's see if it goes better this time. Okay, so against the Philidor, I figure, hey, let's put 2 pawns in the center. He did accept this. So this is the exchange variation of the Philidor. Not one of my favorite openings to play. Bishop to d7, which looks a little weird to me. Taking away that square from his knight and his queen. But I'm sure it's fine. Bishop e2. This looks a bit passive, and it is. The problem is, if you put your bishop on c4 in these Philidor lines, a lot of time black will play a6, b5, c5, and expand on the queen side, and the bishop being here kind of helps that plan, so I stopped doing that. Now I play bishop b2, and actually I'm wondering if this is still in theory. Yeah, bishop d7 was weird, so it's not even in theory. And the engine says, wow, the engine gives f3 as one of the moves, which, okay, why would I do that right now? But also bishop e3 and knight c3, so not committing the bishop just yet. But I played this, it's fine. Okay, and he went knight to e7. I don't like when it shows the notations. Hang on a second. Oh, I can just turn that off. Cool. All right. All right. And I'm also trying to not use the engine as much because I watched a chess dojo video where, I mean, they pretty much said, like, if you're trying to improve at chess, you should come up with your own conclusions and only then use the engine and not use the engine as a crutch. And they thought it was damaging to chess improvement. So let's try to analyze this game, mostly without the engine. Okay, so here I played knight to c3. My goal here was simple. I want to develop my pieces and castle and do it quickly, not fall behind on the clock. So, okay, he brought his knight there. Now, he's attacking my knight. I could take his knight, but that would help him coordinate better, right? Like, he's kind of congested over here. We want to keep it congested, so knight to f3. Now, I don't think the computer likes this move, because I can see the notation. Dang it. All right, I'll try blocking that from me, too. Okay, so the computer didn't like this move, but I do like it, though. I like it because I'm going to leave him congested. I guess maybe he could go here and just be annoying like that, but, you know, I could castle. I can make other useful moves. The other thing about knight f3 that maybe the engine doesn't like is it would be ideal for us to put the pawn on f4 and only then play knight f3. Not sure if we want to do that, though. Of course, you got to be mindful of some unwanted checks. Although I do think we would have g3 in those positions. So this is fine, though. It's a practical move. I'm sure white is a little bit better here. Okay, so a6 was played. I guess he wants to keep my knight out of b5, but this move seems slow to me. I mean, he needs to develop. Even g6 is probably good, in my opinion. Maybe knight g6. Maybe knight e5. I don't know. But a6 doesn't seem right to me. But it does kind of menace this plan. Yeah, and it is annoying. I've been learning that against this b5 plan, a lot of times you want to play knight e2. That seems to be a good way to go. So that plan's a little better right now because my bishop's on e2. Okay. But let's develop and castle bishop f4. He attacked it, no problem. We'll just scoot back. Bishop e7. And now, do I want to castle? I don't know. I mean, the thing about this position is I probably could go queenside or kingside. So maybe I should be flexible. I'm sure castling now is also good. Okay, that is what I did. Let's see what the engine says, though. I'm just curious. Yeah, castling's one of the top moves. It also likes knight to d5 and also h4. I considered h4 because anytime there's a knight on g6 or b6 or b3 or g3, those knights are subject to rook pawns. I learned that from John Bartholomew. Shout out to John Bartholomew. So this is certainly a consideration, but then I'm probably going to castle this way. I actually thought queen d2 might be a move. Let's just see what it says about that. If I go queen d2, I guess I'm relying on the engine again. It says he could just castle, and then, yeah, I could go h4 followed by castle queenside. All right, let's turn the engine off. So I guess the Chess Dojo guys are right, because, like, look how quickly I turn it back on. All right, anyway, back to the game. Bishop f4 here. Okay. He went bishop e7. He wants to castle. I castled. He castled. We all castled. And now rook to e1. Okay, so it's time for my middle game plan. A couple things to note. I need to watch what black's going to do. Black likes to counterattack in the Philidor defense. That I know. But usually the knight is not here. I feel like that knight is a little bit misplaced. But on the other hand, he does have nice control over the e5 square. So there's that. But I can hop my knight into d5, which I think is a nice option. And at the very least, I could probably snag the bishop pair, which should constitute a little bit of an advantage in that sense. So that's an option. I could try for f4 as well, like f4, maybe an e5 break. I think that is a reasonable plan. h4, h5 might still be an idea as well as c4, which would mean moving the knight. And if I'm going to move the knight, he might as well go in there, followed by potentially c4. So lots of ideas for white, I think. And of course I want to connect my rooks as well. So I played this move, rook e1. So I decided I was not going to go for this f4 idea. And I thought, I was actually thinking about maybe f3, because when you have a dark square bishop here, sometimes that bishop is well placed on f2. And then I wanted to go for c4, like this kind of Marazzi bind type pawn structure. So let's see what happened. f6 by Jeffrey. I guess it's not horrible, but it seems awfully weakening to me. It does further control d5. But now this diagonal towards his king is open. So I don't know about that. I feel like there's probably better moves for him. Don't ask me what. I don't really like b5 because it kind of encourages this move, although it would stop c4. Yeah, I guess I don't have any good suggestions for him, so maybe f6 isn't so bad. I'm tempted to play bishop f6. That would sort of pin and say, you know, maybe I'll take your pawn, but then I have this followed by that, so doesn't seem right. Also, the bishop could get hit by e5. All right, let's see what the engine says. I am very curious here. Yeah, it does like bishop f6 and also rook e8. Okay. He could also jump a knight into e5, I was thinking. So, okay. I'm probably going a little too in-depth on this. All right. So I jumped my knight in. I want to play c4. He jumped his knight in. Got a lot of knights jumping around. And once again, I'm like, do I want to trade knights? Because these knights are a little bit superfluous, right? Like this knight wants to come into d5. So if I take, you know, the other knight can take. Maybe I could play f4, but probably can play it. Yeah, this is probably fine. Now this bishop is blocked, though. I guess that would be okay, but I decided to play this move. I like playing this way a lot of times with white. Like, if black is a bit cramped, I like to play to keep pieces on the board if I can. The problem is he can take this way, which I thought he should, and he did. Yeah, so never mind. I wasn't playing that way anyway. I didn't see how to do it, so yeah, I don't want to go knight d2 or something like that, so I did play here, knight d4. Okay, but this does improve my queen and connect my rooks, and I thought he would go knight c6, but I like the fact that the knight is blocking his pawn. Like, as I mentioned before in the Philidor, a lot of times black's play is centered around like a queenside expansion. So I felt like I must be better here. I don't know. Let's see what the engine says. Wow. It says white has a very strong advantage of +2. So, okay, and it says I should go queen d3. Okay, turn off the engine, Stacia. Okay, I went queen d2. I thought if queen d3, you know, I'm kind of inviting him to attack my queen. I'm not sure I want to do that. But maybe I just go here, right? Then here. Then here, and he gets behind his pawn. I don't know about that. So the engine must have some other idea against this. Oh, never mind. The knights move backwards. So, you know, he can't do that. So that explains why that's a better move then. Okay, but I think this is totally fine. What could be wrong with this? B5. Expanding, but like I mentioned, it's awkward with the knight here. He has work to do. He's just a little bit awkward. This bishop is weird. This knight is blocking his pawn. Not sure where this bishop should go. His queen, not sure where the queen should go, so it's hard to connect the rook. So I definitely think black's position is very iffy here. But I do think my opponent's strategy was to play quick, decent moves that don't lose on the spot, and beat me on time. I do feel that's what he was going for here. So I played c4, right? Because when you are more coordinated and your opponent's not, it can be a good idea to play pawn breaks. Now, I analyzed this with my coach, and he said a4 looked better. Yeah, I just have a blind spot for these rook pawn breaks. Rook pawn breaks. Yeah, so I didn't play that, but it does look good. We're attacking the b5 pawn again. We're opening up our rook potentially, and this is hit twice. So, you know, if he takes, you know, for our pawn breaks, you know, we look at what happens if they take, what happens if they push past, and what happens if they ignore it. Well, if he takes, I think we happily take with our rook. We're ready to double on the file. That looks like we've got play there. If he pushes past, it's not defended enough, so we take it. So that's good. And if he does nothing, like let's say a lot of times that means defending the pawn like this, I think that's really awkward. Yeah, it's really awkward. I might even do I push past? What do I do here? I might even play this way. I might play that way. All right, I am curious what the engine will say about this one. It still wants to take and says this is really good for white. All right, I turn the engine back off. So I didn't want to help black untangle, you know, like knight here. I guess we could play c4 now though, right? That must be it. Because if that, we could take. Yeah, it must be this. And if they take with a bishop, still c4. Why not? Yeah, and I like this position a lot. So, okay. I went with this one. I'm sure it's good too, just not as good. Knight a7, he decided to defend. Yeah, and queen a5. All right, so I wasn't sure queen a5 was the best move, but I knew one thing. I knew that I'm tired of games where I look for the best moves and I find them or find good moves and then blunder when I have 5 seconds left. So I decided, you know, that I'm gonna not do that. Queen a5 looked like an interesting move to me, so I played it. And I had over 20 minutes left on my clock, so you guys are proud of me, and I thank you for that. All right. So I'm attacking a pawn. I just might take it, was my idea. And I'm attacking another pawn, and I might take that. So what is he going to do? So he played c6, which I kind of saw, but I felt like, okay, now I need to be a little precise. So I do feel like he was trying to maybe trick me a little bit. Like, hey, I move my knight, lose my queen. But, you know, I don't do that kind of stuff too often in rapid games. In Blitz, maybe. So I decided here that my best bet, let's see, I have some options. I could trade queens if I want. And if he took with a rook, I'd actually win a piece. So that would be nice, except when I take, he could take with a bishop. So that wouldn't work. So, and I think I do want to keep queens on the board. Just, I like this position for possible attacks later. So I decided that was not a way to play. I could jump into c7, but then he attacks the pin knight. So that doesn't seem too good. So I decided I would take the bishop pair. It is with check. I'm not blundering my queen, you guys. Okay. and queen takes. And, well, it's not often I go pawn hunting, but it just seemed like the correct way to play here. Now, he could try to trap my queen, and I did know that during the game. I actually thought he would do this, though. This looks like an interesting move. Forget what I planned here. I think I was just going to go bishop f3. If I do that, he takes my pawn, though. What was I going to do here? It's a good question. Oh, I might have been planning this move, actually. Queen b7, attacking the bishop, and yeah, it's kind of annoying because I do have, you know, discoveries. But I kind of need this bishop here to protect that pawn. If he takes with a pawn, that's possible too. Okay, well, I'm not sure what I was planning here, but if I ask the engine, wow, it really likes white. It says just bishop f1, which I probably considered. And the queen has to move again. Queen could go to f5. And then we could take here. Oh, okay. Yeah. But in the game he played here, so I've got to watch it now, right? Because he can trap my queen with like knight c8 or something. So I went here. And my queen has lots of squares, so I'm not worried. Yeah, he played that anyway. I mean, he needs to improve his knight, so I do understand that. Queen d3. Okay, so he didn't take that pawn, which I thought he should, but computer disagreed. And now rook a6. So I think he saw that I'm probably going to try to take this pawn. And his knight needs to improve itself, you know, go somewhere. So I have a feeling he was trying to defend that laterally. All right, let's open up the position more. And I was hoping he would take with a rook here because, well, that's in line with my bishop. So just a simple queen d2, and that is a skewer slash pin. Rook f5. Yeah, I thought he had to take with a pawn here, which is probably not ideal. That's isolated and weak. That's isolated and weak. And black's position looks a little silly with the knight back here. And I'm kind of ready to rock at this point. All my pieces look pretty good. Yeah, and I could play there or something. Anyway, in the game, I did win the... Yeah, I don't know why he didn't protect the rook at least, you know? I think that's the best thing to do. But he went here, so that's a full rook. I'm going to take that. Yeah, and I think, you know, like these moves he's playing are, you know, that's a complicating move, I guess. But these moves he was playing seem to me characteristic of blitz chess and not rapid chess. So guess what? This is completely winning, and I had 12 minutes on the clock, so he played a couple more moves. But after here, he did resign the game. So pretty smooth game. I mean, really the challenge for me was to not fall so behind on the clock, and I've been using that Botvinnik technique. I actually meant to post some training games. I played a couple of training games using that. And now I feel pretty accustomed to it. So I'm playing faster and a little more practically at times. But it might be paying off because I did, and I'm spoiling the result, win all 3 games at Parma. And my rating jumped back up over 1,700, I'm happy to say. So I'll be back with the round 3 game tomorrow. So hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll be back with more chess. Okay, thank you. Bye.